this is our part 2. Let's leave the listeners in suspense, which is, I told Taria we're going to find it. I think it's this, which is our hot takes on Andy Cohen. And if we are, if you don't know where Andrew Rimby is after this, maybe I've been snatched to Fire Island by Andy Cohen.
I may have to come find you. Don't worry. I will come look for you.
Welcome back, everyone, to part 2.
Welcome back.
Yes. But as I was saying with Dana Wilkey, and game night, remember that,
Ooh.
well, I always say to Dana, if you watch that scene, she's covering her face. It's
yeah.
Kim and Kyle are provoking Brandi. Brandi was on crutches. They hit her crutches. Of course, though, Brandi accuses Kim of smoking crystal meth, or it was, and Dana's right. She's like, if someone was doing that in the bathroom, we might know,
right?
But I do want to get there, though, because the reason I brought up Andy Cohen is kind of what we were saying before about Teddy, and where I think Tamara really, you mentioned it, Heather breaks the fourth wall all the time, but that's okay on the podcast. But why not for Tamara? But Dana has been blacklisted by Andy Cohen, and in my opinion, that's because she reveals that, these are not scripted, but there's scenarios that are provoked. This is, which we all know. I mean, like you're saying, Kyle is pushing storyline. Kenya is pushing storyline. There's a fourth wall. This is not your everyday life scenario.
Yeah, because every day, if I have an issue with my friend, some things I can get over. I may vent about them to my husband and then I'm over them. So it's not every day you're going to go to your friend. I really feel like, you know what I mean? And I remember Dance Moms was my show.
Oh my God, I loved it.
Loved it. And me and my kids got my husband to watch. So we were all, and I told him it was called Dance Moms. He goes, no, it's not. It's called Abby Lee. I was like, no, it's called Dance Moms. But I remember, do you remember Peyton? Remember when Peyton came? She was really tall.
Yes.
And her mom and Christy got into a fist fight.
Oh, in New Orleans.
Yes.
They have this drunken brawl.
Yes. I was going to say Amsterdam. I don't know why, but I remember listening to an interview, and it was the first time that I understood it about reality TV. She said, because I always felt like when I was watching the women's emotions, they were real. But then you'd hear people say, oh, it's fake. And she said, the situations may be set up, but you're getting a real reaction to someone saying, you got to talk about how this made you feel, or somebody's going to tell you how you made them feel. So she said, our reactions are real. Mm-hmm. So that's why she felt like she would say it's not scripted, but of course they set scenes up. Yes, you're going to go lunch here, you're going to do this here, have this conversation. Our reactions are real. So yeah, I 100% get that. Kyle has been the sniper from the side. She is the most beta alpha ever. She thinks she's an alpha, but she's a beta. She is.
Yeah. I mean, I do have to say, I think what I'll give Kyle is she knows in a way what's going to play in this dual scenario. And what I mean by that is, you were saying about Teddy, is they're playing this, we know what's going to be cut eventually for a narrative, but this is what happened over these hours of footage, right? And see, for me, I would want to be in the moment, living each moment, not trying to, even when we're recording this podcast, I'm not trying to think, oh, okay, what's going to be the main takeaway for the listeners right now?
Right. We're in the moment.
And that's a very different mindset. See, if I thought about how are the listeners going to receive this message, or I'll give an example, say Kyle, which won't happen probably, but say Kyle listened to this episode, and I was trying to now gear all my talking points to Kyle.
Right.
that's about the narrative that's going to be cut from this. But I'm
Yes.
more concerned about, okay, let's get to every topic and dig in deep. But I really do think Kyle is more calculated of
Yes.
thinking what's going to be that hot tweet, or even thinking, oh, I might have to do an apology for what I did to
Yes.
Sutton. You know, it's
already in the draft, waiting to go.
exactly. But like, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think Kyle and Sutton, but with Kyle, and I won't even say take down, but when she realized Sutton wasn't feeding into her games anymore, when Dorit got robbed and and then Kyle started crying, and then what was it? Sutton said something to her on that couch, and Kyle dried those tears right up, like, oh, okay, this is not going to work for her, because Kyle was also centering herself in those conversations about Dorit, you know? So it was like,
And it is true. Sutton would never go to Dorit's house right away because
they're not.
Dorit and Sutton don't have that relationship. Even Dorit admitted it. She's like, she's not my closest friend.
Right.
You know, and even if Sutton did go, that could have then been a whole tense argument of like, wait, why are you here? You're an inauthentic friend.
Yes, I was like, gonna say they would have made up a reason. Oh, she's only coming for camera time, or you know, they would have alluded to it in some way.
Well, and that's what I think Beverly Hills has a problem with right now, and why I'm kind of like glazing over a lot with this season.
Me too.
Is this whole alliance and the bonding of Dorit, Kyle, Lisa, Erica. I'm like, okay, this is enough. Like, I need you to hold each other accountable. And Lisa, can we see your eyes? Erica, can you take your sunglasses off? Why are they wearing sunglasses? That annoys me. That's just like my own pet.
And the way, Lisa, you're being passive aggressive. Do you not know what passive aggressive is? Because I think Sutton's been very upfront.
Yes.
Like, so I give her that. She's been extremely upfront, but calling her passive aggressive, and Sutton's very measured with her words. You can see she's very much like, let my words be clear. And for Diana to say she was clumsy with words.
And then she had that whole post about Philly Diva, and she's like, well, in my language, it has a different meaning. I use the wrong words. It's like, well, you're clumsy with the words. Right. But I have to say, usually when someone is accusing another person of a behavior and they're so adamant, like, well, no, you're being passive aggressive and forcing that narrative on you, they're really reflecting their own insecurity.
Yes.
Like, no, Lisa, I think we'll talk about what's never been brought up is, and I'll go there because Lisa's not here and she's not going to throw a glass at me, but there's never been any drama about Harry Hamlin and the rumors around him.
Ever of what he's doing in Canada.
And that's what Kim was getting at in Amsterdam.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Because
it wasn't him cheating. Like, it wasn't him cheating on a woman. It was Harry Hamlin maybe being gay.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. And those conversations, like, are still pretty strong. And so, I was very surprised when she went with him, when she wasn't at the party, because she went with him for this awards thing. I was thinking, is this for appearances? Like, let's appear to me to be going.
Wait, do you watch her dance videos? Because they are the oddest alien. It's like watching an alien. I'm sorry.
I literally reposted this and said to everyone who has ever said, yes, queen, go queen, I blame you.
Well, and to me, it's not the dancing. I love to have a dance. I love doing it's great to do a TikTok video. I did the about damn time. Yeah. It was so fun. But what it is to me is like, she'll always have Harry in the shot and he's like pruning a bush. Yeah, he's not even paying it. Like, he's not paying attention, right? And she's kind of just going along doing these moves.
Almost like, this is us. You know?
And he's not even looking at her. And I'm like, why isn't he dancing? Like, what is this?
So it's like
something is not right. Something's not right.
To me, did you see the tweets that somebody unearthed when her and Star Jones were on The Apprentice?
Yes. Oh yeah. Explain it though for everyone else.
So, guys, she was on The Apprentice with Star Jones, and she tweeted like, "You're going down." She talked about Star's body and the way she was shaped. nasty, nasty, which brought me back to her and Kim meeting up and Kim reading the text messages that Lisa sent to her. Like, you better watch yourself. Lisa was threatening her in those text messages. So it was like, that is Lisa Rinna. And she just had no one put her in her place.
Yeah.
Well, Kim was doing it, but then.
Well, and Garcelle did it at the reunion. Remember? Garcelle said, you said way more than that, Lisa.
Yes, she did. And then, because did you notice when at that reunion when she goes, we all say things in confessionals, but Garcelle throws the most shade. Never have I ever heard you use that term since you've been on the show.
No.
And I believe it to be that she did say that, which is why she forced herself on Garcelle. Are we good? Are we good?
Well, and then, yeah, like demanded a hug. I mean, that was so fake with Lisa. I mean, that was her soap opera.
Yes.
Trying to be a soap opera actress. But
and what gets me is Garcelle knows what's going on. Garcelle's been in the industry for a long time. She knows there's a way that they think she should operate. And so she may not give that pushback like in Eboni, which is okay because we all handle things differently. Yeah. I hated how when Garcelle was crying at the table last year, people said, see, Eboni, this is how you should do things. Well, number one, she didn't have a cast like Beverly Hills, who is concerned about being perceived a certain way.
There we go.
Why they shut up. So they weren't concerned about that. And number two, all Black women aren't the same. All women of color aren't the same. All LGBTQ plus people, we're not all going to handle things the same as someone in our community.
You mean like when Ramona brought her fake friend Vershawn Shaw? I like Vershawn. Like, don't get me wrong. I like her motivational speaking. I think she's a powerful presence. But Ramona, you were forced to do that with a producer.
And did you see, I posted something that Bravo did not put in, but it was online. It was Eboni going to Vershawn's room when Vershawn was curling her hair, and she knocked on the door and was like, hey, girl. And she was like, girl, can you believe that they have us going to the Salem? It was like a real girlfriend type moment, but Bravo didn't put that in the show because then that would not have fit with the narrative of these two Black women not seeing eye to eye.
Yeah, well, and like you were saying, I really feel that they wanted to just do the census checkbox. Like, okay, we have Eboni. We'll see if Vershawn works, but they can't be on the screen together. And that's the Andy Cohen. I mean, we've kept everyone in suspense.
Yeah, but
this is the point is I feel like, in my opinion, we're protected with free speech. So far, we're protected by the Supreme Court. We'll see. No, sorry. That's not funny. But
no, I'm with, because sometimes you have to laugh to really think about
through the pain. No,
yeah, so I'm one that I'll make dark jokes because it's like, it's better that than the alternative.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, and I will listen to Andy's radio show on Sirius, and it's a very different, again, I feel like in radio, you get to the heart of people because they really have to open up. And I'm like, oh, that's what you believe, Andy. Oh, okay. You are up to date with, thinking through nuanced concepts. But again, when he does Watch What Happens and he has the Housewives, he's dragging them. He's putting them in conflict with each other. He knew exactly what he's doing when he asked Garcelle about Lisa Rinna and knew it would be brought up on the reunion. It's like, right. And that to me is, he's the puppet master, but like where Carlos King, I do think, has a really good way of creating trust with the cast.
Yes.
I don't think Andy is really good at creating bonds with the cast.
It's more out of fear. They respect Andy out of fear because they love being a housewives and they don't want to lose their job. Versus, like you said, Carlos creates a respect, cultivates real relationships with these people.
Admiration. Yes. Mutual admiration.
So it was.
Yeah. Like, cause with Andy, they always know who he's favoring. Like, see, you should never know that.
You should never. And let me tell you, it was funny because on Love and Marriage, Huntsville, for their reunions, they would always have someone outside coming in. And it was reunion day and Carlos shows up The cast did not know. The person that they were going to have backed out or something. And then they were calling around to get different people. And somebody was like, well, why don't you do it, Carlos? The cast didn't know. And he walks into their dressing rooms and they capture each person's face when they're like, he's like, I'm the host. Some of them are like, oh, shoot, he's going to get different things out of me. Like, but then the cast was like, oh, someone said, who's Carlos's favorite? And they all named this guy is good looking on the show, but is like wretched. But it was funny because none of them were like a Bethany and Kara, where you can clearly tell where his position lied. It was just like, oh yeah, we know that Martell right now is Carlos's favorite. Martell looks good. Carlos likes a good looking man. You know what I mean? So it was like, you can definitely tell, but it wasn't said with animosity. And that's the difference. I don't think Carlos creates animosity between his cast members either. Whereas Andy, that's how he feeds on his show. Remember when Titus Burgess was on, Burgess was, am I saying the name right?
Titus Burgess, yeah, yes, the Broadway actor.
Yes, yep. And he was on Watch What Happens Live. Mm-hmm. Yes. And Andy tried to bring that up about Eddie Murphy. And when he was like, go on with your show, girl. like he was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not a housewife. Yeah. I'm not doing this with you.
Yeah. Well, and if you want anyone to tell you about Andy Cohen, listen to Kathy Griffin.
Oh, I believe everything she said.
Oh, I believe it because, I know Andy, I've heard of his partying side.
Same.
Yeah. Especially on Fire Island. I know, and I love Fire Island, but I've heard stories. Again,
look, same. Alleged. We'll say allegedly, but
allegedly crazy, wild party stories.
Mm-hmm. We've heard the same.
And again, that's not an issue, but I just feel be who you are, in my opinion. Like, then own. I'm a partier. Okay, great. Like, let's, he has a Kiki show. Well, then let's have a true Kiki of honesty.
And his book, Superficial, that's who he is. He's told us he is superficial and shallow, always wanted to be the popular guy. Now here he is, you know what I mean? Like with these, and I feel like sometimes he may use that particular power to his advantage. I'll say that.
And he uses Sarah Jessica Parker as a pawn in my
opinion.
I've never seen someone that infatuated with a person, like throwing them out there. It's
that's
like, okay,
not their significant other.
It's like, okay, it's a friend. Like, I would be very uncomfortable if someone kept bringing me up for like exposure. It's like, okay, great.
And same. And it's like, even because it doesn't seem authentic coming from him. Like he's telling an authentic story and it just so happens to involve her. It's almost like you find ways to bring her up.
Yeah. Well, it seems like we're on the same page. Like, again, and I think he's put in a lot of effort to, get into producing. I think he's a very good producer.
Yes, he clearly, like, look at these housewives. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I think he's at a crossroads.
Yes.
Like the whole network of Bravo. Well, first, I think Peacock is where it's at in terms of the growth because of binge watching shows, in terms of why I like Ultimate Girls Trip, because even this production team of Ultimate Girls Trip, the show looks different. It sounds the music. I love the music. I'm like, oh, this is great. Like
one of my favorite behind the scenes moments, and it's just, I don't know why it was just so funny to me. Last season, an Ultimate Girls Trip, when Luann was leaving her room and she's trying to walk out and the camera is right there and she's like, okay, back up. Like, just, it was just like almost like you would never see that on an episode of New York. You telling the cameraman, move, I'm trying to be in, like, get out of the way. Like, I don't want you to film me. Like, you don't know what you're doing with your job. Like, move. Like, it was just so funny when she was like, okay, back up. So I like the behind the scenes too. And how they show them all talking, like they'll be at a table and they'll be focusing on one conversation, but they're not editing out the actual other conversations that are happening. It's like, what a real girls trip.
You hear like. Multiple voices at the same time. Yes. Yeah. And it's like, well, of course, not everyone is listening to this one-on-one. Like there's multiple people.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and that's where, like, I want, if there is any white housewife listening right now, not to, put them all in a category, because I think there are big differences. And
Me
like, to me,
too.
that was Roni and Beverly Hills. Like with Roni, I think politics was the big issue. Like there was
Yes.
clearly Eboni up against the conservative Trumpian.
Yes.
Well, I would
Yes.
say one,
I
Ramona.
was gonna say one. Yeah, yeah.
And with Beverly Hills, I think, like you said, they kind of want to come off as they're liberal and they,
Yep.
fit the boxes of moderate liberalism. But it's like when it comes to the heart to heart, it's not happening a
Nope,
lot.
it's not. I don't believe so at all.
Yeah.
And I think that they're so afraid of being canceled in quotes more than they are concerned with actually learning and growing.
Yeah.
And understanding that conversations about race are not about someone of a minority race catching you being racist, because it doesn't feel good to us when we catch someone being racist. But I find that when it comes to black and white, or black and whatever, or not even just black, but when it comes to discussions about race, people often don't understand it until you put it in context of a woman and a man relationship. So I was talking to someone about, on Twitter, a black flight attendant posted a picture, and it was the whole crew on the plane was black. And they all just they were glowing and gorgeous, and they looked like me, and the whole entire plane crew was black. So I was like reading the comments, and I was like, this is gorgeous. And a white man says, I don't see any inclusivity in this picture. And I said, y'all are weird. I said, in 1957, a black woman wanted to become a flight attendant, applied, was rejected because of her skin color, and had to file a complaint with the TWA. And now here we are, we're able to have an entire flight. No one is saying we want all black. We're saying, wow, an entire flight crew is black, when less than 100 years ago, one couldn't even be a flight attendant, right? So I'm saying this, and I'm like, but if it was about a man and a woman, y'all would understand that. And I used that example. If someone said, how would you feel if a white woman posted Black Girl Magic? Do you ask a man how he feels when you post girl power? When you say things like women are smarter than men? You don't ask them, you don't worry about how the man feels, right? Because you're empowering women. But it's not okay for me to empower other Black people that look like me. There is a woman's intimates line called The Honey Pot. And she talks about even our bodies are different. Sometimes Black, white, Hispanic, whatever, like our bodies are different. And she was having feminine issues down there. And she said she had a dream one night, and an ancestor gave her a recipe in her dream of herbs to use for this product. I use the product, hands down, absolutely love it. It's like a feminine wash.
Yeah.
But when it first came out, white women got together and went to the Target website and made a coordinated effort to tank her rating, because they said it's not fair that, because what she did an interview, and she said, I want a little Black girl to look at me as an entrepreneur and say, she can do it too. And because she said, I want a little Black girl to look at me and say, white women said, what about us? And they went and made a coordinated effort to tank her ratings. And I just thought, but if she said this is just for women, no, or because actually the wording on the bottle is by humans with vaginas for humans with vaginas. She's not saying women, she's just saying humans, right? A great message. But if someone had came out with a woman's product line and said, this is all for women, they would have championed that. And if she had said, I just want a woman to be able to look at a little girl, to be able to look at me and think that she could be a success, they would have championed that. But because she said Black, it was an issue. So I'm finding that it's like with these housewives, they're girl power, girls stick together, men are this, men are that. But when it comes to issues of race or LGBTQ plus, they're not willing to just be open. And again, we're not looking to catch you. The LGBTQ plus community, I promise, doesn't want to catch you being homophobic.
And Bronwyn, I really respect Bronwyn.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
What she went through too with her sexuality and them like trying to say she's lying. Like Kelly Dodd kept saying,
yes,
she's lying. She made it up. It's like, no, this is her life. Like, this is her journey. You know, not everyone has the picket fence lesbian experience. Like,
right.
You know, you might be in an open marriage that exists. Like, just the judgment to me. But again, if it doesn't fit the narrative and the box, and this for Beverly Hills is, I think, the issue is when, I mean, Erica said it out loud, which is, you know, the first moment I actually, I don't know if I'll say respect, but the first moment of clarity from Erica.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, hold on to that question because we'll be right back. But first, a word from our sponsor. Which was when she said, no, son, and you just want to know if Crystal thinks you're a racist. Like, that was it.
That's it. That's it.
That's all. Most of those women who are white on the cast are so scared to be called a racist. And it's like you're saying, no one is trying to cancel you. And I think this is where, to me, cancel culture is not something of, it's like, I don't want to say it's making a mountain out of a molehill, but more, it kind of like you're giving so much energy to a phenomenon that, in my opinion, is not really excelling. It's
not
more
advancing
about
the movement. Yes,
exactly. It's a rhetorical movement that doesn't. It's more about getting into when someone just wants to hold you accountable to have these discussions. It's like like Eboni was never canceling Ramona.
Right. She said she thought she should come back.
Yes. Well, and like with Luann too, I think Luann did get to a certain place of understanding. Of reflection. I mean, the one who I think showed a lot of heart is Sonia.
That was surprising to me.
Yeah. And I think Sonia showed the empathy of listening. Just Eboni has a different experience than us ladies. We need to hear her. Like, hear her pain. Like, just listen 100. To her. And I was like, thank you, Sonia. Like, thank you for just opening the door to listen. And that was all Eboni was looking for.
That's it. She wasn't asking for anything extra.
Yeah. And I do think if what I remember is Eboni is still in contact with Sonia. I think that's the only cast member. Who I guess they still are in communication. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think Ramona just operates in her own
world because I think we also need to be quick as allies, right? If I'm an ally to your community, I need to actually take the time to talk to people from the community, learn the terminology, and learn what I'm saying, and not just throwing out to someone who makes a comment, you're homophobic, but it may not be homophobia. And you may be able to tell me, well, Taria, that's not really homophobia. This is what it falls under. For me, I tell that when I looked at Ramona, she had behaviors that fell under the umbrella of racism. But when you know what the meaning of racist is, she didn't show me that. She showed me she could be capable of that, but she showed me a whole lot of bias, ignorance, stereotypical thinking, and a little bit of bigoted thinking. And I had someone tell me that. And when the person said this, I thought, I don't even think they see that they're saying this shows their privilege. She said, I don't need to be schooled or I don't need to be educated about the right terminology. They should just be glad I'm calling it out. So Black people should just be glad that you're throwing out the word racist and not really using the right terminology, because then what happens is you have people saying, oh my God, here we go. Let me guess, it's racist. And then the message just it's like they don't want to hear it, some people. So it's like we really need to be careful when we're allies to all communities, that we're not just throwing out words that's not really what it is. It falls under the umbrella, because people in their minds, you may have someone who truly is not a racist, but again, who is biased, who may be a bigot, who may be operating through stereotypical thinking. And when you label them a racist, sometimes it shuts down all communication, versus you saying what you said was extremely biased or extremely exclusive. And they're like, wait, what? And then you have that conversation if you so choose to. Exactly. So I just think that we all need to learn how to be better allies to each other. And these women on the show, can we get back to fighting about Shannon going to the bathroom and Heather sitting in the seat, taking her seat? Them fighting about that, or eating the bow off of Heather's cake. Can we go back to that kind of stuff and not, someone asked me today, you should be glad. You're not glad that they're trying to create diversity. And I said, in the grand scheme of things, yes, of course, we know all of us should be in all areas. But there are times when I think I was okay with Atlanta and Potomac being what they were, and then the other franchises being what they were, because as a Black woman watching coworkers interact, because that's what they are, I've been through some of the very issues they're going through, the microaggressions, and you hate that. Here's another Black woman going through that by herself, who has no backup on a cast. So when I explained it to someone that way, they got it. I said, that would be like me not being thankful for HBCUs. Remember, there was a time when college did not accept Black people. So we created something for us to be able to get higher education, higher learning. And then when schools were integrating, look at what the kids went through. I'm glad it happened. But so there are times when I look at it like, is Bravo doing more harm than good? Because the things that I have seen from people that don't like this diversity is disgusting. Look at Crystal when she talked about the hate that she got.
Yeah.
Like insane. So it's like, why should someone have to go through that? But if they're willing to, that's great also. So
yeah. Well, and do you have 10 more minutes?
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like we could talk forever, but
yes.
I know that, eventually I'll be more in conversation with Taria on her show. So that's exciting to manifest. But
he's not manifesting it, guys. It's already going to be done. We just have to pick a date.
Well, and this is where I'm so glad, thank you for your openness and voice of just explaining, especially myself as a white person, it's not about, and I think that's going through just learning about allyship when it comes to race. It's not about me, Andrew, being called out as racist. I think this is where I see Andy Cohen. He's more in that box of the Beverly Hills cast of, oh, I'm a good ally. I haven't been called out as racist. But again, are you, Andy Cohen, in conversation with people of different races? Do you have friendships of people of different races? Are you only in a homogenous group of wealthy, white gay men?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a certain, talk about Fire Island. It can be a very white privileged place. There's not a lot of racial diversity
there.
Within the gay community there. They're trying that. There's cause for that. So I only bring that up to say, you could be bringing in, thinking you're bringing in diversity, but to just fit a quota. That isn't integrating. That's not, you're going to have the issues you have in Beverly Hills because, they're trying to come out at it as
especially
Erica Jane, to me, she just tries to appropriate culture of all
of them.
All races. Races, the drag queen community, queer culture. She's just whatever, I'm going to do it. And and that's problematic. Very problematic. And, and I think that no one is, in my opinion, really, they probably have, and we haven't seen it all, But I'm curious as we go forward with Beverly Hills,
Mhm.
can we please have someone just tell Erica to her face exactly what she's doing is problematic? Like,
She'll be like,
well, because like
literally go into character then.
yeah, well,
like,
because her triggers, remember, she screamed at Eileen about her son.
hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what
now
does she do?
screams at Garcelle's son and tells him to F off. But, you know, and Garcelle could have gone off on her in that moment. But again, how would Garcelle have been perceived as a Black woman?
Thank you.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, and just calling it out what it is. And I'm like, please, can one of the women in the cast just say it as it is? Like, Erica, you would have gone off if that was your son.
Yes.
But Garcelle didn't go off because she doesn't have the racial privilege.
Right. And Dorit even saying she was horrified, but being mute in the moment. It goes back to, again, Sutton last year. I mean, well, Sutton and Crystal and Kyle. Kyle not saying a word when that was going on with Sutton and Crystal, when you caused that, you know? She gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
Kyle is like
well, and that's where maybe there has been a lot. I have this like theory in my mind that Crystal somehow in the storyline has ended up with, because I do think we can see it in real life that she's with Garcelle and Sutton somehow.
Yes.
So I feel like there's something that's going to happen where, well, we know Erica like really isolates herself from the group.
Yes.
In Aspen, there's something in Aspen with Kathy Hilton.
And we got
that to me is going to be the firework moment.
Yes. We'll oh God, then we're gonna have to talk about that.
Well, and maybe that's when hopefully like Sheree holds Erica's feet to the fire.
Yes.
And I think Kathy probably calls out Lisa Rinna. Because remember, Lisa's trying to provoke Kathy with Kyle.
Yes. And that to me is like disgusting. And the fact that Kyle's letting it happen and not shutting it down. Like, hold up. This is my sister.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
But we're not going to talk about Harry Hamlin.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, like I would be throwing his name out like, so Taria, you said X, Y, and Z. Did Harry say it? I would get her to the point. Throw a glass at me if you want. That will be the last glass you throw with a straight hand for a long time.
But if you think about it, Lisa's never really been the center of the drama of a storyline.
No. Except remember when Kyle's close to death and she couldn't remember.
Oh, that's
like,
right.
That barely went anywhere. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So, well, and again, I think that because Lisa has been manipulating the storyline, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where I really think, you know, and I think Erica is trying to join that. Like, join Lisa at trying to create spectacle, but it's like when Erica tries to be drunk, which I still have questions if she's drunk.
Me too.
I'm like, that or you're just a really bad actress. I think she's acting.
I'm like, is she really? I was wondering too. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. Because I really was like, I mean, I don't know.
Because she doesn't, like Garcelle said, Garcelle's exactly on point. Because like, I do think Garcelle's the one who reads the room. Garcelle.
Me too.
I listened to her memoir. Incredible. I love Me As I Am. She, like you said, she knows the industry. She knows the difference between play acting and the authenticity. Yes. And she's like, Erica, you're just deflecting from your lawsuit cases. Like, where's the jewelry, Erica? Like, why is that?
Yes, Garcelle.
But I'm sure that's Erica doesn't want anything to be talked about with her,
right? And
the lawsuits. Like, she's good at she's trying to deflect.
Because she keeps saying, "Oh, we're past it. Thank you guys for seeing me through my crazy." And it's like, girl, we're nowhere near past it at all. Like, it hasn't gone away. Like,
yeah. Well, and Erica blatantly lies.
Yes.
Like, you know, things have been resolved, and then like there'll be a little investigative journalism in the Bravo sphere, and they're like, "No, it's not resolved."
Yes. Oh, Erica's case has been dropped. Yes, because it's being picked up in a different county, like, you know, like a different jurisdiction. Stop it. So technically, yes, that's the truth. It was dropped, but you're not reporting that it's been picked up either, Erica.
Yeah. And well, I think as we end, I'm just curious because I have my own hypothesis for this, but I am always, especially because we're in the Ivory Tower sphere here.
Okay.
Which cast do you think is the most intellectual? And you can interpret that any way you want.
I think it's a toss up, honestly, between, I'll say Sutton and Garcelle. Because I think Crystal is intellectual, but I think she's very emotionally intelligent and mature. And sometimes she leads with emotion, which is good, but intellectually thinking, to me, when I think intellectual, I think thinking things through to the end, seeing things how they are. And I'm going to call this out here, but I have to wait, not being manipulative, but like, I need to do point A, point B, point C to get my point across. I think it's Sutton, or I think it's a tie between Sutton and Garcelle. Because Kyle pushing storyline to me isn't intellectual. Mm-hmm. Like, I think Sutton and Garcelle are authentically calling things out. Even if there's a little planning to it, like I said, like I have to say this first, but I think what they're saying is true. So I would say those two. I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but immediately.
No, and you can tell Garcelle's waiting for the moment. Like
especially
with Erica, I feel like she's a lawyer in this case. She's letting her. She's doing a Meredith Marks, and I mean that in a good way. Meredith, I love Meredith. I love Meredith, and at the reunion, she's like, "Well, Lisa, when you did that, was that okay or not?" And then she was building a case, and I was like, I see what you're doing. And the whole bathtub, like, I knew exactly what she's doing. She's showing us an alibi. She's like, well, I was in the bathtub. How could that have happened? Like, I was like, brilliant. Well, but again, that's why I like lawyers like Phaedra. I mean, Phaedra's one-liners.
I used to want to be a lawyer. Yes. So and I'm very fact-based. So I like looking at things and saying, well, X, Y, and Z. Like the other day I was on a podcast and they were like, oh, talk ish, get hit. Candace talk ish to Monique. And I said, so what exactly did she say to Monique that night or during the season to make her want to, can you tell me what exactly she said? Because if we're going by talk ish, get hit, Giselle was talking about that woman's son's paternity. I mean. Monique had lunch with her. That's why Monique had all the smoke for her and not Candace at the reunion. So I just said simply, I'm a very fact-based person. So watching the show, what did Candace say specifically to Monique to have Monique decide? I said, let's be clear. Violence doesn't make me like, oh, I want Monique gone because of violence. Fights happen. I didn't care about the fight. But the reasoning behind everyone saying talk ish, get hit. So my question was, are you talking about Candace? Okay, so are you talking about her talking ish to everybody but Monique, and Monique just defending everyone? Because if we're saying, if you talk ish to me, you're going to get hit, then that would allude to me saying something directly to you.
Yeah. But who? Yeah.
And that didn't happen all season.
Where was the fuel directed with Monique's binder? Giselle.
Giselle, exactly.
And the phone number, remember? Oh my God.
Yes.
I will rewatch that.
Yes.
Where Monique's like, oh, so his number is da 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 da. And Giselle's like, it is. At least Giselle was truthful. I have to say, she's like, well,
Monique
I've been caught.
Played her part, and Giselle certainly played hers by like not saying a word. She just was like, I'm just not going to say anything.
Yep. But that's where, Monique actually wasn't, like you said about the fight, they were going to bring her back. She left of her own accord. Yeah. She wasn't fired for a fight.
Right.
She wasn't even fired.
They've had different fights on Bravo
Phaedra.
shows.
Yep. Teresa Giudice.
Yes.
I mean, we'll have to, when I come on your show, we'll have to talk about Jersey because I have hot takes.
Yeah, somebody said, I was in Reddit yesterday, and they talked about New Jersey, and someone said, as a Black woman from New Jersey, I can tell you Jersey is the most un-Jersey cast. And I was like, yes,
that's what I've been saying to everyone. Yes, let's end on that because that's a good teaser. And also, you know what? I'll say Giudice because she's Italian American. So it's Lisa Giudice. But oh no, maybe now it's Ruelas. Whatever. We could talk about that whole drama.
Is he Italian? Is Ruelas Italian, or is it?
You know what? I keep thinking maybe he's Latino, but no one has brought it up.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, I think he's Latinx.
Okay.
Somehow. I think so, but that's just my own reading of Ruelas.
That's what I thought. I was like, is that Italian?
Yeah. But see, this is where with the Jersey cast, I'll end us on this, which is us both being from Jersey. That is such a stereotype of a cast. It's like they wanted the Godfather cast. Yeah. And it's like they're not all Italian Americans are like this. Not all Jerseyans are like this. It's only 3 towns in New Jersey. Like you're in one area of Bergen County. I'm like, this isn't New Jersey. This is.
And not only that, like you said, there are only 3 towns, but it's like they're not even like the bit like.
They're not the large towns of Jersey.
Yeah, like this is what we're
doing.
Well,
like, where's our Princeton family? Where's the Shore family?
Right.
Where's the Cherry Hill family? I mean, the only time, and again, I know Siggy is so controversial, but she was from Cherry Hill. Like, I thought, okay, I like that Jackie got on the cast. I like Margaret on the cast.
Yes. Yep.
You know, I do like Dolores, even though I know her politics probably don't match mine.
Yeah, not at all.
Most of the Jersey cast, I think the Jersey cast, almost all of them don't match.
And that's what people don't understand either. It's like, y'all don't even know.
And Jersey, is more of a progressive state, but that cast definitely reflects conservatism. It's like, well, that's why I give Margaret a lot of credit because she is very vocal about progressive politics.
Yes.
So I'm not sure. I think Melissa is Switzerland.
I was going to say, which like, that is not a thing to be Switzerland on, like be Switzerland on something else, but not. I was wondering if Jackie is, for some reason, I get the sense that she is progressive.
I think so, but like on her social media, she's not as vocal.
No, she's not. Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, I could tell you someone who's not, which is Jennifer Aiden. Yeah.
Absolutely not. Like not at all.
Well, and someone who's actually really progressive is Danielle Staub, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
I think so.
I think Danielle has a lot of stories to tell. But yeah, Jersey, yes. I think Jersey could really use
some different folks.
Different folks who aren't like, again, family was kind of how it was all built.
Yeah.
But maybe we need another, like a different Jersey show. Like bring a South Jersey show. I don't know.
Or a different family,
Different family, exactly. And well, because I feel like there's always it's always tied to New York City, which is fine, but like we have New York. Like maybe we need a Philly. I've always thought about the Real Housewives of Philly, because that could be interesting. Because then you could get Jersey, like you could actually have more back and forth. And they never really do any Jersey things anymore. They used to go to Atlantic City for the reunion.
Yeah.
And I love that. And then they're left Atlantic City. Now it's all in Manhattan. I'm like, but you're not the Manhattan housewife.
Right. You need to I agree with you. Like add some, like maybe go to Central or like New Jersey. That way you can get people from all different sides of the turnpike.
Exactly. Yeah. We could just film at the rest stops. Oh my gosh. But look, we were saying you could even just have a show in Atlantic City. I think that could be an interesting reality pitch.
The Real Housewives of Atlantic City. Can you?
It would be dynamic.
Talk about fighting. See, they think those Jersey women up North Jersey women or something, they have nothing on some of the southern parts of Jersey.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, in terms of like when they say Teresa fights, like she's having temper tantrums.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, she's not putting her hands on anybody. I'm sorry. She's just not. She's throwing glass, you know. I don't see her putting hands on anyone.
Yeah.
I
Well, and
really
to me,
don't.
anyone who throws glass, it's so classless. Again,
Yeah.
and I don't agree with physical violence either, but like when you throw glass, like you're really, to me, it's showing you can't talk through this issue. Like use your
Yes.
words.
And if you're that upset to the point of you fighting, the only time I'm throwing glass is if I'm intentionally trying to get to you to put my hands on you and can't. I'm probably still not even throwing anything because I'm trying to get to you. You know what I mean? Like, so that whole, to me, it's such a put on when they're throwing glass. Y'all are not throwing hands. Like, y'all are not doing that. You're throwing glass to make it to what? Intimidate someone? Because if you throw a glass at me, if I respond back, it's not going to be with glass. It's going to be like with my hands. Like, you know, so it was always so fake. Remember that season? And I know we have to go, but when Ziggy was on and Teresa threw the glass, but like she threw it straight down to the ground. It's like, girl, get out of here. Like, you're not.
Or like something that wasn't talked about was Jen Shaw. Remember when? No. Sorry, not Jen Shaw. Sorry, Jen. Jen, you have enough going on. Actually, I think I like Jen has like I like her personality. Also, shout out to Up and Adam because he got that exclusive interview with Jen, and I was like, okay, you go, Adam. Okay, but no, Jenny, which we'll talk about her on your podcast. That glass. Yeah. Remember when she threw it? But she threw it like she threw it at Mary.
Yeah. I said, now see, if Mary had snatched her ball, then that would have been an issue. Like, who are you to throw glass at? Like, that is just so like you said, if I have a problem with you and I'm getting physical, like I wasn't taught to like throw things. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Did Mary have her eyebrow raising moments? Yeah, but guess what?
They all do.
All of them have it because that's why we're watching. You know what I mean? And they're bringing that in the scenes. Like,
that is perfect.
You know,
guess what? They all do.
Yeah. Did she know? Mary knew how to, you know, she wasn't always talking through, but she knew how to put boundaries around.
Yes, she did.
And I respected that she knew her happiness. She's like, okay, this doesn't make me happy. I'm gonna
I'm out of here.
Yeah, like when I still will remember when she says to Whitney, what is that line? She says something like
women.
Like, and I do. I think I'm gonna, even though I know, okay, she has some very shady things maybe going on.
Yeah.
At least Mary, she gave us those one-liner moments. I'm going to miss her one-liner
moments. Me too. I don't know if I'm going to watch Salt Lake City this year, to be honest, because it's just like, especially if they're going to her church. Why are you going there? She's not there anymore. Are we going to court on the way by at the church, Jen? Because that's where you are.
Well, I heard that's why, a rumor again, but why they were waiting a while to film the season was because of the court case to try to capture.
Oh yeah, all of it. Well, they're certainly getting it now.
Yeah. I know we keep saying we're going to go, but one more thing.
Just and I know you have to go because it's fine.
I know, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not that strict on the deadline, but I do have to ask you, just because I have a hard time seeing how I would do this in a reality show. And maybe this would be a good theme for when I'm on, which is, I think about it. Okay, we're filming right now, this podcast. Say someone was here with there was a TV crew in both of our homes. Okay, it's going to take at least 6 months for this moment to be replayed. Right? You have to bring back those emotions again to the public. I see why it's difficult. Like you kind of have to relive those moments. This is new to the public. They haven't seen Taria and I have this encounter, these deep dives, this shadiness, right?
Yes.
So I get the drama behind that because like now we're trying to relive the past. And I think it's like an Alice in Wonderland moment. Yeah. I don't know how I could do it. It's trippy.
I think if you didn't have the element of seeing what other people thought about you in these moments that you had to live through.
Mhm.
So if I knew that we had an issue and we made it right and we worked through it, seeing it again may be okay. But then I'm watching you and hearing you say things that I hadn't heard you say before.
Yeah.
So sometimes they say things in confessionals that they haven't said to each other, and it can be like real shady. And it's like, oh, well, wait a minute. And I think that's what sparks up most of the mess.
Or what happens if I talk to my best friend about you
Right.
in another scene and you had no idea that I met with them?
Wait, I thought we were cool. Yeah.
But again, this is why Dana will always say it, and I always believe it. I would never want to bring my best friend on with me to a reality show. Nope.
No.
I want to be I'd rather be in the Big Brother house. I'd rather be on a dating show. Like I said, I want to be like on a gay Bachelor. Make me meet random strangers.
Right.
At least I don't know these people.
Right.
Like,
that's different than, and it's a different type of drama that's may not necessarily cause you to lose it as much as these housewives, because they poke and they poke and they do. And so, I say every day I pray that I'm a better person. I want Jesus to be pleased with me. There are certainly a lot of days that I miss the mark, and I can only imagine me being on a show and you caught me on a day when I'm so far off the mark isn't even there anymore.
All I know is if someone dragged me on social media who's a stranger, and I know it's hard to sometimes take a step back, but if I'm a public person with a profile, I would either just like it and be like, thanks for watching. Move on, or ignore it. Like Diana, why were you looking through someone who had like 40 followers at the beginning, who was creating this account, like that you had that time to like put in these paragraph messages. And like Lisa, no one is looking at your Instagram stories to see you drag Garcelle's fans, like
at all. And then for you to tweet and delete, that to me is so, oh gosh, like the posting and then deleting. It's like,
well, it kind of brings us back to the beginning, which is the drop storyline of the reunion, which is, Lisa, you're not making yourself look good about, saying that you feel comfortable Garcelle's on the cast. Why would you even write that in your Instagram story? The lady doth protest too much.
Exactly.
And Lisa likes that phrase. So let's leave it on.
Let's leave it at that.
Leave it on that. Bye, everyone out there.
Bye, guys.
Bye, housewives. Thank you so much for listening to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room, or True Crime in Academia. I'm Andrew Rimby, the executive director. Our team includes Mary DePippi, our chief contributor, Nicole Arguello, our marketing assistant, and Kimberly Dallas, our editor. Ivory Tower Boiler Room episodes come out on Monday, and sometimes I'm joined by a guest co-host. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Ivory Tower Boiler Room, and on Twitter at Ivory Boiler Room. And here's Mary.
Hello, everyone. I am the host of True Crime in Academia. Do not forget to follow True Crime in Academia on Instagram and TikTok at True Crime in Academia. And coming soon, there will be a Twitter also at True Crime in Academia. Now, if you're like me, you like to have bonus episodes. I love extra content, don't you? So go to patreon.com/Ivory Tower Boiler Room. Not only do you have access to our video interviews, but you will also be able to access never before seen bonus episodes. So like I said, we don't release them anywhere else. You can only get those on Patreon. So go to patreon.com/Ivory Tower Boiler Room and become a subscriber today. And don't forget to listen to Ivory Tower Boiler Room on Mondays and True Crime in Academia on Tuesdays.